All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Aquarium Online Academy. My name is Allie, and I'm part of our education department here at the Aquarium of the Pacific. Now, today we are going to be checking out some really cool animals, a big group of animals called sea turtles. So I hope you're excited to learn a little bit about sea turtles today, but you can definitely participate as well. So if you want to either talk to someone you're next to, tell your pet, or if you want to even text into us, you're more than welcome to. We have a number right at the bottom of the screen here. It's 562 286 1838. And you can text over any questions you might have, any comments you'd like to share with us. And also, if you're not watching while we are live, if you're watching afterwards, you may definitely still participate with us. And we have an email down here, and that's live@lbaop.org. And that way, that email will be sent over to us, and we will respond as quickly as we can. So I'm not alone in the studio here. I am joined by Alicia, who is behind the computer there, controlling all the cool things you see behind me. And then my friend Sarah will be taking all of your questions and comments that are coming in. So first of all, right behind me here, we are looking at our shark lagoon. Now, I mentioned that we are learning about sea turtles, right? Well, in our shark lagoon, we have a sea turtle. So I'm gonna give you a second here. See if you can find it. Do you guys see a sea turtle? I'll give you a hint. He is resting on the bottom, and he has a very cozy little nook. Oh, you might be seeing him right here. Does everyone see our turtle there? We'll see if he'll make an appearance in a little bit. He might come out, but that is our olive Ridley turtle. So here at the Aquarium of the Pacific, we have two, and one happens to be outside joining our sharks in Shark Lagoon. Oh, he's moving a little bit. He's biting on something. We'll give it a second and see if he decides to come out. But we will be talking a lot about turtles today. And first of all, let's go ahead and start with reptiles. What is a reptile? What comes to mind when you think of that word, reptile? Well, when I hear the word reptile, I think of snakes, lizards. Do you guys think of those things? Maybe a tortoise? Yeah, so reptiles actually are scaly. They have scaly skin. They are vertebrates, which means that they have a backbone. So everyone, go ahead and touch your spine. Can you feel your spine? Yeah, you can kind of feel it kind of bumpy through your back. That is a backbone. That is a characteristic that we people have, but it is a characteristic that all vertebrates have. So turtles or reptiles do have backbones. And another characteristic of a reptile is that they lay eggs. Oh, our turtle's coming out just a little bit here. We'll see if he's kind of scratching a little bit, scratching in the sand. This is, again, an olive Ridley turtle. They were born in 1995, so they're just about 25 years old, our two we have here. So you can definitely enjoy him as we talk a little more about them. So reptiles, yes, we do have them on land, but we also have them in the water. And specifically today we're talking about sea turtles. Now, there are other types of turtles. There's turtles that live in the ocean, but there's also turtles that live on land or in freshwater. So what's the difference between, say, a freshwater turtle and a seawater turtle? What's some differences that come to mind? Well, their habitat, right? So their habitat is different. The habitat is an animal's home. It's a place where an animal lives. So the sea turtle, their habitat is huge. It's much larger than, say, a pond, right? Also, they spend most of their lives in the water, whereas some turtles, freshwater turtles, they might come out to sun themselves pretty frequently. So they have different habitats. They also have different food sources, And because they have different habitats, they also have different adaptations. I'm going to introduce that word. I know we're bringing up a couple words here. We've already had vertebrate. We've already had habitat. This word is adaptation. Can you say adaptation? Adaptation. Adaptations are things that an animal is born with to help them survive in their habitat. So one really good one to point out on our turtle that you see right here is their shell. Does everyone see their shell there? Now this sea turtle here, you can see that nice lovely shell. I believe this is a green sea turtle, and it has that nice lovely shell. Now what do you think that shell helps them to do? How could that help them? Exactly. It could help them to protect themselves from predators. Exactly. This shell is really, really, really hard. So it's really hard on actually the bottom too. If we were to flip the turtle over and look at its belly, it'd be a little lighter colored, but it's still pretty hard. So that's a really great way of protecting themselves. I actually have here's a really good picture of a lovely turtle swimming. Now you can see that shell is pretty big, so it's a little heavy for them to carry around. But one thing that some turtles can do that sea turtles can't do is go into their shell. Have you ever noticed that? Sea turtles actually can't go all the way into their shell for protection. So some turtles can on land. I know I had a turtle growing up that could just go whoop right into its shell. You won't see that on sea turtles. So that's actually one really good difference when you're kind of looking around looking for different things. So sea turtles, yes, they spend most of their life out in sea, and that's definitely what we're going to talk about today. But they also come on land. So they come on land for one major reason. Does anyone want to take a guess why a turtle might want to come on land? We just got a really good question. Does the turtle in Shark Lagoon ever blend in with the sand? Oh my goodness, that's a wonderful question. Yes, totally. So he has actually a kind of light colored shell. Again, he is an olive ridley turtle. There are 7 different kinds of sea turtles. So this is just one of them. So do you see he's kind of light in coloration? Yeah, so if he was down against the sand, might be some pretty good camouflage. Oh, he's diving right down right now. Might be some good camouflage for them. So that's a really good point. But you also might have noticed that he was using this little cave he has here to also hide. So although he might blend in with the sand, he might use other things like rocks to help him blend in as well. Great question. So back to that sand, that's a good leeway here. So sand, why in the world would turtles want to come on land? Well, their food isn't on land, so it can't be for food. What about to have babies? Yes, turtles lay eggs, just as we talked about. Reptiles all lay eggs. That is one characteristic of them. Well, sea turtles are no different. They come up to the sand and they crawl onto the beach and they dig a nice big hole in the sand. Have you ever been to the beach and dug a nice big hole in the sand and you put yourself in it and covered it back up again? Well, that's pretty much what sea turtles do with their eggs. So they can come up on land, dig a nice big hole, and get all of their eggs nice and situated in there. Now they can have hundreds of eggs at a time. So there's quite a few siblings in their eggs. And then the turtle can cover them back up with sand. Now one really good reason to cover the eggs back up with sand is so no one else can see them. If they're hiding underneath the sand and maybe even a dog walks by, they're not going to say, "Oh, look, an egg." No, they're nice and protected underneath the sand. So that's one actually adaptation that sea turtles use to help their eggs. So I mentioned that adaptations are things that you're born with to survive, maybe on your body, but they can also be things that you do, just like covering your eggs here. So looks like this is a picture from NOAA, and we have a baby sea turtle here. So after they hatch on land, then they're pretty much on their own. They don't have their mother sticking by, or their father, or any other adult for that matter, hanging out there waiting for them to hatch. Once the mother lays her eggs, she'll go back into the water, and the babies will hatch and come out on their own, just like those cuties you saw just a moment ago. Now, oh my goodness, look at these. Thank you, Miss Alicia. This is the cutest thing. Now, these are leatherback sea turtles. These are babies. You see, they're not quite sure how to be a turtle yet. They're just trying to figure out how to move. But what's really cool about sea turtles is that the temperature of the sand actually determines if it is a male sea turtle or a female sea turtle. Now that's a little confusing. Well, the sand temperature, if we were to stick a thermometer in there and the sand temperature was over 85 degrees, then most of the eggs will be female. So if the temperature was below 85 degrees, what would we think? If above 85 was female, what would we think below would be? Male, exactly. So actually the temperature of the sand has a lot to do with if there's more boys or more girls that hatch. Isn't that cool? So once they hatch, they make their way down into the water, and they use that the moon shining on down the water to kind of go right towards the water there, and they swim off. So again, they don't have any parental care, but they do spend a lot of their time out in the water. So they swim most of their lives. They spend a lot of time out there. Oh, let's see what this video. Oh my goodness. Oh man, look how cute it is, finding its way towards the water. Oh yeah, some fast little flippers there. Now, actually, I do want to bring up conservation towards the end, but I want you to keep in mind, while we're kind of thinking about sea turtles, how could people on land affect the nests? How can we affect the nests as people? Oh, so we had a few more questions come on in. Olivia asked, do sea turtles have any other defenses besides their shell? Olivia, that's a really great question, because now we're going into talking about how they are in the ocean a lot, how they spend most of their lives in the ocean. How do they protect themselves? What other adaptations might they have? That's a really great question. So of course they have their shell, right? So I'm actually going to show you a shell, a real green sea turtle shell. I'm stepping off camera here just to grab it. Oh, it's a little heavy. Now this is a real green sea turtle shell. Does everyone see? Now it's pretty big. It's pretty big, and you can see very distinct. Oh, perfect. You can see it. I'll line it up right here. There we go. Oh, perfect. So we're going to line it up here, and you can see these little shapes you might see all the way down its shell. Now that's actually a really great way to tell what kind of sea turtle it is. So this is a green sea turtle, but remember there are 6 other kinds of sea turtle. One of which we have here, this shell. I'll orient it again. Whoop. This one here is a hawksbill. Now what do you notice? What's different about it? It looks very similar, but one thing that really stands out to me is right here. Now I know it's a little broken in some points, but these little points you might see here. So there are little indications about what kind of sea turtle it is just by looking at its shell. Now, one really cool thing I like to do is flip the shell over. So let's look. Oh, here's another really great picture of one of our hawksbill turtles from NOAA. So NOAA is not a person. It is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association. So whenever I say NOAA, it's NOAA. You can see just in the bottom of the screen here, NOAA. And that is an organization that really works close with our oceans. So we have our awesome turtle here, but if we flip it over, what do you notice about the inside? I notice a really big line right here. And I notice all these little lines. Now, what do you think that could be? This is actually where the spine attaches to the sea turtle. So we talked about how they were vertebrates, how they had that spine, that backbone. Well, this is actually where it connects. So unlike some other animals who might be able to take off their shell, depending on what animal it is, sea turtles are not like that. Sea turtles, this shell is connected to their spine. So they can't take their shell off like, say, a hermit crab could. All right, but Olivia was asking, well, what are some other defenses other than their shell? Well, they are actually pretty fast swimmers. So they're really good at swimming. They have great adaptations like their flippers. Did everyone see the flippers on our sea turtles? Let's see if we can get a picture of them or a video of them swimming. And I want you to look at those flippers. They kind of look like little paddles. And that helps them to move pretty fast through the water. So they are excellent swimmers. Oh, here's a great view. So this is a green sea turtle kind of swimming through. Do you see how they almost work like paddles? Almost like he's flying on underneath the water. So they can be pretty quick swimmers. And another defense that they have is they're pretty big. You saw how big that shell was, and that's not the biggest sea turtle. The biggest sea turtle is called the leatherback sea turtle, and we actually saw a couple of those babies kind of walking around. Of course, they're really small, but when they grow up, they can get to about 2,000 pounds. So their size is actually another great defense. Oh my goodness, here's a great one from NOAA. So you can see this awesome sea turtle we have here. Look how big it is. It'd be much bigger than me if I were to stand right next to it. Again, they can get to about 2,000 pounds for this kind of sea turtle, the leatherbacks. So a great question you have there, Olivia. Now, actually, we have another question from Allie. Do seagulls eat the baby turtles? That's a really great question, Allie. Yes, they can. They can eat the babies. However, they have other predators as well. So what other kinds of things do you think might be on the beach that might want to eat a turtle? Or a sea turtle egg, for that matter? Yeah, so they could be birds. They can also be some land animals like foxes or things that just wild animals in general. Because you can see how tiny these are. So another really great way of protecting their babies is, again, by covering those eggs. Again, as people, we can kind of disturb those eggs as well. So if there's ever an egg nest, usually we'll get some sort of warning of closing down that beach, just so we don't disturb these eggs. But yes, good question. Seagulls are able to eat them. Thank you for that. Alrighty, so we talked about different adaptations that turtles have to help them survive and protect themselves in the ocean. But something else they do out in the ocean is, well, they need to sleep. Now, we have turtles that are very good at this, as you saw that turtle in Shark Lagoon kind of hiding under, taking this little nap. Turtles are able to hold their breath for a pretty long amount of time. Now you can see our turtle here. Do you see their little nose? Yeah, there's their little nose right in front. So, of course, they do breathe air. Oh, great picture, Miss Leisha. You can see our turtles coming on up to the surface. They do breathe air, but they can hold their breath for several hours at a time. So it's really cool. Our turtles can actually go down to the bottom and they can rest just like that turtle you saw before, or even this one right here. And they can slow their heart rate down. So our heart rate, it beats pretty consistently throughout the day. Well, and they can actually slow their heart rate down so they use less oxygen. So they can stay underneath the water longer. Isn't that cool? What a cool adaptation they have. So that could be really handy for sleeping. That could be really handy for even looking for food. If there's maybe not a lot of food around, or maybe you're really hungry, you might want to stay underwater a little bit more. And that's a great adaptation that these turtles have. Looks like we have more questions coming on in. Leah, what are sea turtles' favorite food? That's a good question. So it depends on the turtle. So most sea turtles are carnivorous, which means that they eat other animals, whether they are other invertebrates like shrimp or squid, or whether they're fish. But some also eat seaweed, like the green sea turtle. When the green sea turtle is a baby, it eats kind of little bits about kind of everything. We call that an omnivore. That means when they eat both meat and plants. Oh, perfect. But as they get to adults, they eat just plants. Now, of course, there might be little critters on there as well, but they will eat primarily that seaweed as green sea turtles when they're adults. But it really depends, again, on the sea turtle. Some even like to eat sponges. No, not like the ones you do the dishes with. Real live sponges that grow in the ocean, that our sink sponges are actually modeled after. They are a real animal, which is pretty cool. Or some of them really like to eat jellyfish. Yeah, so leatherback sea turtles, they love to eat jellyfish. Now, leatherbacks are the ones that can get to about 2,000 pounds. So they have to eat a lot of jellyfish to be able to sustain that weight. And they swim around and they love to eat them. But hold on, wait a second. Jellyfish sting, don't they? Yeah, so they actually have different adaptations to help them eat those jellyfish without being hurt. Actually, one thing, if you look inside of a jellyfish mouth, it has little tiny, almost, oh, here's a great picture of that leatherback again. It has little spines that go all the way down its throat. Now, those spines actually help the jellyfish from coming back up again. So they have different adaptations to help them eat that food. Oh, Susie. Oh, does that mean that all sea turtle eggs hatched on the beach are the same gender? That's a really good question. So there can be a mix between males and females. So temperatures, of course, fluctuate. And maybe if they're in the middle of the highs or lows, they can just around maybe 85 degrees. They can be a little on both sides. But in general, yes, the warmer is going to be female and the cooler is going to be male. Oh, Miss Alicia made a good point. How deep the nest is, too. It's a really good point. Have you ever been to the beach? We talked about maybe digging a hole. And the more you get down, is it cooler or warmer? It's cooler. Yeah, it's cooler underneath there. So that might also help with the temperature. We also have another question coming on in. Asher, what else eats turtles besides seagulls? For the hatchlings, the little babies, they could be eaten by lots of things on the beach. We talked about foxes or just different wild animals. It could be a coyote. It could even be a crab or a raccoon. So lots of things are able to eat those babies. But then they go on. Oh, here's the babies again. But then, of course, they go on out into the ocean. So what do you think might prey on them in the ocean? Hmm. Well, one of their predators is a shark. Actually, tiger sharks, they do eat sea turtles. So, of course, they do have those adaptations to help protect themselves, like that shell. But there are always other animals in the ocean that are carnivorous as well that might take maybe advantage of a slower or maybe an injured sea turtle as a snack. So great, great questions there. Now, I do want to touch a little bit back on that leatherback sea turtle. That leatherback sea turtle, we talked a little bit about how you can tell by the shell what kind of sea turtle it is. Well, when we get a picture on up of it, I want you to see if you notice anything distinctive between their shell and, say, the green sea turtle that we looked at earlier. What do you think are some differences between the two? Well, I notice right off the back that there are ridges. Does everyone see those ridges? Yeah, they have 5 ridges that go right along their back. And the name back actually the word back is in their name. And they are called the leatherback. Now, what do you think lends them their name? Yeah, it's this soft, kind of almost a little bit flexible shell. Now, we looked at these shells before. These shells, this is the hawksbill again. It's really hard. It's very, very sturdy. Well, the leatherbacks is a little more flexible. And that is a really awesome adaptation for this species because they love to dive down really, really deep. So they can go down to around about 4,000 feet in depth. That's really, really deep. So because their shell is flexible, it can actually bend just a little underneath the pressure of the water. Because every time you go down a little bit deeper in the water, there's more pressure. And if something was really, really hard, like another type of shell, it could crack. We don't want that for our turtle. So theirs is a little more flexible. Now, these guys, they don't quite live off of our coast here in Southern California, but the green sea turtles do. So we do see green turtles actually off of our coast here. You might have actually seen one before. And I do like to bring up a little bit of conservation. So here at the Aquarium of the Pacific, we do participate in community science, which means that lots of members from our community come and watch in certain areas to count and see how many green sea turtles they can see. So that's actually a really great way to get involved if you're interested in community science, because we have noticed that actually green sea turtles love to come on in the LA River. Right where it connects to the ocean, they can come on in and eat that seaweed that we were talking about. Now, sea turtles, every single species of them, all 7 of them, are endangered. So what does endangered mean? It means that they need our help because their populations are dropping pretty significantly. And we want to be able to help them before they go extinct. This is one way that you can kind of go out there and help out our sea turtle population. So we can actually go out and count the number of turtles. Sometimes they might even have a really distinctive mark, and you can tell, hey, that's the same turtle I saw last week. And you might kind of learn things about these animals and kind of watch them grow and watch them maybe leave and then come back again. So we're really lucky here at the Aquarium of the Pacific that if we find a turtle near our coast, we are able to bring them in here and rehabilitate them. So things that might affect turtles are fishing gear. Different fishing methods affect them in different ways, but they could be entangled, or maybe if they eat something they're not supposed to. So plastic bags, those might look like a jellyfish in the water. Or maybe if they see a shiny hook that was meant to be used for catching fish, but instead ended up in the belly of a sea turtle. We're very fortunate here that we have the ability to rehabilitate and then re-release those sea turtles to help them go back into nature and hopefully live healthy lives. So actually, we have a video of our team here at the Aquarium of the Pacific releasing a green sea turtle back into nature after we've rehabilitated it here. So you can see he's in this kind of stretcher, that blue you see here, and the turtle can just move right on out to sea. Awesome. So pretty cool that we have all those ways to help take care of our turtles. But I definitely encourage you to look up other ways. How can we help these turtles? What can we do? But thank you so much for joining us here at the Aquarium Academy online with the Aquarium of the Pacific. Thank you so much. Hopefully we'll see you again. And we have another class after this, so stay tuned and we'll see you then. Bye.